Hello. One of the key things, obviously, when you're doing road trips is to have something large enough to carry the things. So don't get too ambitious, but figure out what you can get in the van, in our case. And one of them is the Smeg fridge freezer behind us. That was a trip down to London. Had to replace the seals, had to do some work to the hinges and things, which is a bit of a faff. But we got it sorted. So obviously, we have a large green fridge freezer now. Also there, we have the washer tumbler dryer thing that we picked up from Huddersfield, which we tried to organise to go with the fridge freezer but failed there. Also on the side here, and which is why I'm discussing this, is the heater matrix from a van. This is basically the interior of a Fiat Scudo van, similar to the Citroen Dispatch or the Peugeot Expert, obviously. Now the water was pooling in the footwell here. Couldn't tell if it's coming from over here somewhere or here. Didn't know if we had drain plugs blocked or something stupid. But when I realised the water was coming from here, this should be screwed on, but it just pops off. And when I felt here, there was the liquid coming out of this thing. You can't see much of it now, but this going up there, again, this isn't going to work with the camera, is the heater matrix, and that is what was hidden away and dripping down, and that is what needed replacing. So here we are on the lower side of the passenger side of the footwell. You'll probably know where it should go, where it comes from when you take it out, because there will be water leaking out of the gap. You just have to be sensible, use some screws. If things are in the way, they tend to just unscrew out the way. So for example, we just push the circuit board back and we can get this in straight. I haven't really got enough hands to do it now because I don't want to scratch down the fins at all. So I will show you when it's slotted back in a second. And that's the matrix moved back into place. A bit of brute force to get the pipes to connect up. Swap the seals around there, just hopefully give it a better seal. And as ever, just bolting everything back. Make sure, obviously, if you've clipped any wires, if you've taken photos, just make sure they go back in the right places. Yeah, so realistically, half an hour to disassemble things. However long it took me to decide that that was not a fixable thing, it was leaking. The old one, nothing I could do about that. And then after deciding that instead of bypassing, just go down the route buying a new one, it's gone in a few minutes. Just reassembling what's come off. As ever with these things, that is a bit tricky. Someone at some point has installed some new wires. I'm not really sure what they're for, but I'm not worried about those. They just get tucked out of the way. So yeah, I mean, it's not particularly helpful, but as with all these things, when you start just showing bits of plastic and stuff, it's very hard to tell. If you want information, I'm happy to provide it, but yep, saved, I suppose, quite a bit of money, and it is really quite a simple thing to do, but unfortunately, I can't top up the coolant or anything like this. I'm going to have to get a lift to buy some new coolant. I'd love to have been able to flush the system properly, but I really don't have time for that, which is a bit of a shame when I'm putting in a brand new component. It's going very hot in this van. Yeah, there we go. Of course, if you have questions, you're welcome to ask them, but just, showing you what I'm doing and why we're buying ridiculous old vehicles that you can sort of strip apart with very little effort and put them back together. Final issue really is just replacing the coolant hose. I took off the radiator because there's no real ports or anything on there to allow me to take the old coolant out, and obviously I want to make sure that I was getting any rust and junk out there, but I'm going to have to use a Jubilee clip to secure it because the hose isn't creating the best seal, and I don't want it to kind of fly off under pressure later. But that's something to bear in mind if you're going to do this job. It's true on a lot of cars, but some of them have better ways to drop coolant than that, and I don't have time to get new hoses sorted. So yep, that's the choice you have to make.